Am I the a-hole for walking away from a house I have no equity or say in and stiffing my soon-to-be ex? Before we got married, my in-laws sat me down and explained that I was never going to be on any paperwork for the house they helped my fiancé purchase as a wedding gift. They insisted on an ironclad prenup. I got a lawyer and made sure I was protected as well. After we got married, I contributed to the expenses of our household 50-50, mortgage and everything. It was a little more than I paid in rent and utilities, but I figured we were building a future together. I make a decent living as a welder, and I do not own a lot of stuff. I have a truck, a welding lid, a laptop, and some clothes. Before I met my wife, I lived at Airbnbs and all-inclusive resorts. I work 4 weeks on and get 2 weeks off. It didn't make sense to rent a house that could sit empty for a month at a time. I have helped my wife upgrade, renovate, and furnish the house. I'll give a simple example. We bought a very nice sectional. I paid for half up front by giving the money to my wife. She then bought it on her credit card to get the points. After that, it wasn't my problem anymore. I recently found out that she has been seeing her ex when I'm out of town. I do not play that game. I will never compete for a woman, and I do not forgive cheating. So the last time I came home from work, I stayed at an Airbnb. I took the time to see a lawyer and initiated our divorce. When my time off was done, I went back to work. My next break is after the new year, and I will be going to an all-inclusive. Neither this last time nor from now on did I or will I be giving her any money. The problem is that she didn't use the money I gave her to pay down the mortgage or her credit card bill. She blew it on other stuff, so now she is in a bind. My money made her lifestyle possible. By just leaving and not engaging, she is kind of screwed. But there is nothing there for me anymore. We don't even have a dog like I wanted because she would have had to care for it while I was away. So all I left behind was a suit I only bought for our wedding, some gym clothes, and my dress shoes, once again for the wedding. She, her family, and her friends are all over me to help her during our divorce. I have no obligation to do so though, and after our divorce, even less so. I can literally live out of my suitcase and my backpack. My only living expense beyond housing is long-term parking for my truck. Even my mom seems to think I am screwing her over and punishing her too harshly. I personally can't believe my mom would take her side, but my parents' divorce was really antagonistic, and their inability to communicate led to both of them being much worse off than if they had cooperated and ended things amicably. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. You are not the a-hole. She cheated. You're leaving. Up to her, and her family if they want to deal with the consequences of her actions. Sucks for her, but actions have consequences. And her parents are the ones that made sure that she'd be on her own financially when they split. They just never foresaw that she'd screw it up for herself. The prenup works both ways. They kept him out of it and she faffoed. Not the a-hole, but I don't understand why friends and family are on her side when she is most likely cheating on you. That doesn't make sense. Not my problem anymore. Anyone that contacts me on her behalf I block, except my mom. Depending on how vocal your mother is, you may want to lower contact with her, or at least set boundaries about what you're willing to discuss. I'm out of town a month at a time, and when I'm off, I will go back to being on vacation. I already barely see her. Not the a-hole, and cancel Christmas with your mom, unless she stops playing a traitor. She's certainly old enough to know better. I'm not going to be back in town until January. I'm going to Belize, then back to work. Next story. Am I the a-hole for canceling a third date over a peanut allergy? A friend of mine set me up on a date with a coworker of hers. She said we were perfect for each other. Our first date was at a coffee shop, and then we arranged to meet up at a botanical garden the next week. While we were at the botanical garden, she told me about her peanut allergy, which she described as life-threatening. I told her that must be stressful, and she said it was. We arranged a lunch date for this week at the end of that date. After that date, I started thinking. I love peanuts and eat them all the time. I put peanut butter in or on a lot of stuff, including my dog's toys, which he drags all over my apartment, getting invisible peanut oil everywhere, I'm sure. I can't see a potential relationship with this woman ever progressing to a serious stage without me changing my diet and habits. At this point, we've only been on 2 dates, and I think it would be more respectful of her time not to go on a third. So I called her and told her I was sorry, but we needed to cancel. She asked if I wanted to reschedule, and I apologized, but said I didn't think we would work out long term. She asked why, and I was honest. I said I really like peanuts and would be nervous about potentially harming her. She said there were a lot of safety precautions we could take to keep her safe, and I admitted I knew that, but didn't want to do them. She said wow, and told me I'm immature. I apologized again, but she hung up. She told my friend what happened, and my friend is confused by my reasoning. She said her coworkers said I'm a massive douche. I don't feel like I am. We only went on 2 dates. 2 dates don't imply any commitment. I asked her if she agrees I'm a douche. She said she's not sure, but that my logic is definitely weird. Do you guys agree? You like peanuts more than you like her. That's fine. It could have just as easily been reversed if she didn't like dogs and dropped you because you have a dog. And that's fine too. My son has a life-threatening allergy to cashews and pistachios. I pray that any future dates would gracefully bow out if they were not willing or able to remove those items from their life. Kissing someone after eating those foods can cause a reaction. You did the right thing, OP. I like your example. If someone found out I had a dog and then said they didn't want another date because they don't like dogs, I would be grateful. We wouldn't ever be able to live together, so why waste my time? Not the a-hole. You're not compatible. Exactly. That's exactly my mindset. There are no bad guys in incompatibility. Not the a-hole. You don't need a reason to decide not to date someone, but a peanut allergy is a perfectly good one. If you eat a lot of peanuts and don't want to give them up or deal with all the precautions to protect her. I probably would have just told her I'm not feeling the connection I want to feel in a relationship and feel it's best we both move on. Getting specific about why you don't want to date often brings a pretty negative response, so I prefer to keep things neutral. The truth is that some people don't take rejection well and will get butthurt no matter what you say. That makes sense. Thank you for the advice. I will keep it in mind for the future. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my menopausal wife that she looks like she's 50 years old? I'm 53 male and most likely the a-hole, and I think my 53-year-old wife is gorgeous. I think she looks more beautiful now than the day I married her. We've been privileged to have money, so we've been able to take care of our health. She's in good shape. She gets a lot of compliments. But the annoying thing is that recently she keeps putting down other women's looks behind their backs. She will pick at every perceived flaw. She talks about how she's more beautiful and looks younger than other women. I have told her it's not nice, but she says she's just being honest. As I said before, I think my wife is gorgeous. She also has wrinkles and age spots since she's 53. One day, my wife and I ran into a former colleague of mine who's a woman in her 30s. As soon as we got home, my wife was talking about how she's more beautiful and looks younger than the colleague. I told my wife that I think she's more beautiful than the colleague, but that she looks like a 50-year-old woman. My wife looked shattered. She started saying that she's going through menopause and that her body is breaking down. I told her I think she's beautiful and sexy. I tried to hug her, but she moved away. She asked why I would want to seduce an old woman. She then got angry and said, in a crude way, that maybe I'm having relations with my former colleague. Out of the blue, she said that maybe I'm having relations with a woman in her 20s. Then even more out of the blue, she said she's white and I'm not, so that's why she looks much older than me. I asked her where that came from. She started crying and said I'm shaming her for aging. She's been really upset ever since. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. If she wants to compare to someone else and put other women down, she needs a dose of reality. The thing is, I didn't expect her to be so upset. I thought she would have understood that I wasn't saying she looks bad. Before this, on several occasions, I have told her that to me she looks more beautiful now than when I married her. Maybe I'm naive, but I thought she would be okay hearing that she looks 50. Your wife needs therapy. As soon as I finished reading the post, I thought, this woman needs a therapist and a healthcare provider that specializes in menopause stat. Yikes. OP is in a no-win situation. Welcome to the club. It passes. It just takes a while. Love, kindness, and time get you past menopause. Remember, it's worse for them than you can imagine. Next story. I got mad at my wife after she answered my hypothetical question, and I didn't like the answer. Am I the a-hole? Background. I 43 male work. She 39 female doesn't. I make over $200,000, so she doesn't really have to work. However, she came into the marriage with $40,000 in credit card debt, so I asked her to get a job just to pay her credit cards off, and then she could quit. As she was browsing job postings yesterday, she came across one where the upper end of the salary range was over $300,000, and she joked that she might be making more than me, maybe thinking that I would be insecure about it. On the contrary, I told her I would love that because we could then split the bills. She immediately said no. I thought she was joking, but she was not. I was caught off guard and pressed her on it and asked if she would really not contribute even if she were making more than me. She said she would contribute, but took issue with splitting 50-50, saying she would never do that, even if she made more than me. Keep in mind this is all hypothetical, and it's very unlikely she would make more than me, but it still bothered me and turned into a fight. I decided to drop it, but I woke up this morning and it's still kind of bothering me. Is it stupid for me to be upset about a hypothetical situation that is unlikely to ever happen? Like, am I doing the "would you still love me if I was a worm" thing? Am I the a-hole? Edit. These questions have come up repeatedly, so I'm answering here. Does she do the housework? No, I do most of it. She says I like it OCD level clean, so it's my responsibility. Does she do the cooking? No, we used to both cooks, but she doesn't like to cook anymore. So now it's just me. Although we get takeout a lot, so I'm not cooking every day. Do you have kids? No, not planning on kids either. How is it possible she has such a high credit line if she's unemployed? She had a job making about $100,000. She lost her job last year during mass layoffs at her company. She already had the credit cards. Why did she rack up so much debt? Was it medical bills? She got a pretty sweet severance package and lived off that for a while. She started freelancing, and I assumed she was making enough to squeak by. She wasn't. She covered the difference with her credit cards for almost a year. How did you not talk about this before? You mean, how did I not ask her if one day she made more than me, would we split the bills 50-50? It's a near impossibility that she would ever make more than me. It never crossed my mind to ask. This all started as a joke. Second edit. More frequently asked questions. Why would you marry her if you knew this? We've been together over 8 years and recently got married. She's had a job making decent money. She paid her own rent, bills, etc. She used to help with the cooking and cleaning, but that eventually stopped. What does she do all day? To be honest, I don't really want to get into that. This was supposed to be a question about getting upset over a hypothetical situation. I was worried I was being stupid for caring. It turned into something much bigger. What do you get out of the marriage? We've been together for a long time. We started dating when I was a broke grad student living with 3 roommates. I worked hard, got several promotions, and my salary kept rising. What I get out of the relationship is not measured in dollars or chores. It's about the love I have for her and the love I get from her. It's about how I feel when I'm with her and how I can be completely myself around her without ever feeling judged. Basically everything you want from a relationship, minus the dollars and chores. She has massive credit card debt, doesn't work, doesn't clean, and doesn't cook. This isn't your wife. She's your sugar baby. She's effectively using you for money. Bro got a real-life labubu. Ask her what would happen if you lost your job. That should be an eye-opener for you. But no worries, OP, because it's completely hypothetical, and no one has ever been laid off before. Did she say why? Does she have some kind of view that financial support is a man's job? Is she just cheap? Not 100% sure. She did say she would contribute, just not 50-50. So it feels like she has some level of "it's a man's job to provide." No, it's not weird that it bothers you even though it's hypothetical. It says something not nice about her bent of mind and/or character. OP, listen to people when they tell you who they are. No idea what that means for you from this little context, but eyes up. Last story. Would I be the a-hole for not giving my son's ex-girlfriend a ride back home from college for winter break? I have an 18-year-old son that I share with my ex. My son just finished his first semester of college. He goes to my alma mater, which is on the other side of the country, United States, from where we live. A couple of years ago, he started dating the daughter of one of his mother's best friends. She decided she wanted to go to the same school as my son and is attending the same college. Since she left for college, her parents' marriage has imploded. She has also apparently been having a hard time finding friends at the college. She started treating my son badly, and this culminated in her kissing another guy. My son broke up with her after finding out. That was 2 weeks ago. Winter break is about a month long. She had been planning to ride with my son back home. She does not have a car. I flew to the college to ride with my son in his car back home. She apparently assumed that my son was still giving her a ride because she asked my son when we were planning to leave tomorrow to drive back home. My son told her that she is not getting a ride. This resulted in her calling her mother, who called my ex, who then called our son and demanded that he give her a ride. She has no other way home, and the plane ticket is about $1,200. Plane tickets in the US are a mess right now. He refused. My ex then called me since I am here and demanded that I give her a ride. Since it is technically my car, I am the only person on the title. I told her I am going along with whatever our son wants to do. Apparently, this is causing all types of issues for my ex and the girl's parents as they try to figure out how to get her home. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Her treating him badly and kissing another dude just cost her family $1,200. If I were you, I'd be focusing on my son's healing from the breakup, and I would be doing the complete opposite of pressuring him to let his ex ride back. Agreed, she is literally at the find out portion of the experience. Just give the girl a ride home. Jesus Christ, be the grown-up here. Your son made the commitment to give her a ride. Backing out and leaving her stranded is a-hole behavior. Show him how to be the bigger person here. Punishing her in this way accomplishes nothing. I do not think my son is being petty here. She treated my son like crap. I have read the text exchange between them in the month before he found out about the kiss. He breaks up with her and she never apologizes, blames him, and after the breakup uses his grandmother's death, my mom, who he was extremely close to, as a dig at him. He blocked her and she had to call from a friend's phone. The only reason I would even consider doing this is because her parents found out about the breakup for the first time a couple of days ago, and it is going to be difficult for them to get her home for Christmas. But this is not pettiness. If I thought it was, I would tell him to suck it up and we are taking her. She did not tell her parents either. I was apparently the only one of the 4 biological parents who even knew about the breakup until a couple of days ago. I posted here because I feel bad for her parents and the difficulty they will have in getting her home, especially with the dorm closing Tuesday night. But I do not feel bad for her, based on how she has treated my son.